A stress reduction story with a happy ending. You've reached Success Hotline, message number 10,232. I'm Dr. Rob Gilbert, and today, session number 21 in our Save Your Life Relaxation Seminar. Once upon a time, there was a brilliant violinist at a high school in a small town in Japan. Juilliard School of Music in New York, one of the top music schools in the world, heard about her and sent one of their faculty members over to Japan to see her perform. And when he came back, he just spoke about her in such glowing terms that Juilliard offered her a full 4-year scholarship. Well, she couldn't turn that down, and she came to Manhattan all by herself. She left her small town. And she almost instantly hated New York. She hated the school. She hated everything. But she stuck it out for the whole year. And when she finally got home in May, she got off the plane and threw herself into her mother's arms and just cried and said, "I never want to go back. I never want to go back." And her parents, knowing what a great opportunity this was, they bargained and they negotiated. And here's what they decided. That she would go back for her sophomore year. And after 30 days, if she was still unhappy, she could come home, no questions asked. And she agreed to that. The only bright point of her first year was her roommate. She really got along well with her roommate. And her roommate and they had an apartment together sophomore year. And the roommate, who was American, stayed in New York all summer. And one of the things she did, she started studying yoga and meditation. And the American roommate knew how much stress her Japanese friend was under. So about the third day she came back, the American roommate had a dinner, and she had her yoga and meditation teacher come over. So the Japanese woman told the meditation and yoga teacher all the stress she was under. She told about the 30-day deal. And the teacher said, "Well, I might be able to teach you a meditation stress reduction technique that might be able to help." And she said, "I'd really appreciate that." Well, he taught her a technique, and she was supposed to do it 20 minutes before breakfast and 20 minutes before dinner. And she started doing it. And it worked like magic. Almost instantly, her attitude changed. She even started liking Manhattan. She started liking the school. She started liking her teachers. She started performing better. 30 days passed, and she never even thought of leaving. She had a spectacular sophomore year. And just before final exams, one day she's in one of the classroom buildings, and she saw one of her professors. And he said, "Can I speak to you for a second? You are one of the most interesting students we've ever had. We had such high hopes for you. In your first year, last year, you performed so poorly. And this year, you are performing better than we ever thought was possible. And what caused this huge change?" And she said, "Well, I think it's a meditation I do." And he said, "Well, could you tell me about it?" And she told the story about how miserable she was in the 30 days and how her roommate stayed in New York all summer and studied yoga and meditation and had the yoga meditation teacher come over for dinner in September. And he taught her the technique. He said, "Well, what's the technique?" She said, "Well, I do it 20 minutes before breakfast and 20 minutes before dinner. I repeat this phrase to myself over and over again." And the professor said, "Well, I don't want to overstretch my boundaries, but would it be betraying any trust if you told me what you repeat to yourself over and over again?" She said, "Oh, sure, I'll tell you." She said, "I just sit by myself, clear my mind for 20 minutes before breakfast and 20 minutes before dinner, and I say to myself over and over again, I don't give a damn, I don't give a damn, I don't give a damn." Remember, in one of our previous messages, you want to care, but not too much. You want to care less. You don't want to be careless. You just want to care less. And that's what helped her so much. I'd love to hear your comments about this story. You could always reach me at sendmeastory@aol.com. I'd love to hear your comments. Thanks for listening.